got no leg.
Right to tamper with the universe.
Yourself into oblivion.
Hello, and welcome, dear listeners, to the third season of The Darkest Timeline.
Film Podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Darkest Timeline. I'm David.
I'm Dylan. I'm Ian.
Here we watch bad movies linked by actors that share... Yeah, it just doesn't work.
You just say we watch bad movies linked by actors or by following actors between them. It's not a hard pitch.
We do that. Today we watched a movie that even Jason Mantzoukas couldn't save.
He wasn't in enough of it. He didn't save the last one. There could be an argument made that is probably incorrect, but there could be an argument made that he did. Be easy to argue against it.
He certainly pulled more than his fair share of the weight in Dirty Grandpa. But
True.
This week we watched A Poor Man's Hangover, 2014 sleeper hit,
Would you stop calling things a sleeper hit?
Search Party. So, Dylan, do you want to drag us through this plot?
This is difficult.
It is.
Like, this is various hijinks, the movie. That's all it is.
So true.
You can't say nothing happens in it because all that happens in it are things.
It's skits on a road trip, the movie.
So do you know what the difference between this movie and Scully is? Nothing lands in this movie. Oh!
You got a sigh at a Dylan. Good job.
And I'm pretty sure you meant Sully.
What did I say? Scully?
You said Scully.
Yeah, we were very
Sully.
confused.
That's what I meant.
Yes, the plane movie with Thomas Hanks. Good old Thomas Hanks.
God, Thomas Hanks.
Yeah.
So the plot of this movie is, so we got Nardo.
The groom.
Yeah, the groom. T.J. Miller. I don't remember his name in the movie.
The pothead?
They were kind of all...
They were all potheads. Actually, one was the...
T.J. Miller. He was the guy that
loser.
actually... He actually broke up the wedding.
Okay, T.J. Miller.
He was
The asshole.
in Deadpool. And
The
he's
worst
on,
man.
He's on Silicon Valley. And,
Right.
Well, along with that other guy that's
Yeah.
also on Silicon... He's Nardo. He's on Silicon Valley, right?
Nardo is the main character
Yeah.
of Silicon Valley.
I haven't actually watched.
It's pretty good.
I've heard.
Although there is a horse bit in Silicon Valley that is reminiscent of Freddy Got Fingered.
Anyway, two of the people from that show are in this movie.
Thank you, Dylan.
Search Party.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then the other guy is the weird brother from Dirty Grandpa, who we didn't follow to this movie. We just didn't realize it was the same person.
Yes.
And I don't remember his name in the movie, so we're just going to call him David.
No.
Steven?
No.
Billy.
Billy.
Okay, so we have Nardo, T.J. Miller, and Billy.
Billy!
Yeah. And
He's the Blue Ranger.
Nardo's getting married, but they all three of those guys are roommates and have been friends since high school, and they get high in a van. And Nardo's like, I don't know if I really want to go through with it. And he doesn't remember that the next day at his wedding, but T.J. Miller does, and T.J. Miller tries to break up the wedding because he's an asshole. And the first part of this movie gets really real. I like to call it David, the movie. It's very reminiscent of a dark portion of David's life,
Yep.
but here's
the fun.
Wait. Go ahead and watch the first part of this movie, and you'll just get a glimpse at how where David's come from.
Yes. I just want to put my old self to sleep so that
With a needle.
So my new self can't wake up.
Yes. It was not good.
No, it was the beginning of this movie is very real
Yeah.
and maliciously unfunny. Although the entire movie is maliciously unfunny.
All right.
Okay, so the wedding is broken up, and the fiance goes on their honeymoon alone to Mexico. And Nardo, unbeknownst to the movie watchers, tries to follow her to Mexico and gets carjacked, and his clothes are stolen. And so he's naked for basically the rest of the movie. And I haven't seen this much penis in a movie since Watchmen.
Yeah.
If you remember Watchmen,
Yeah.
there was a lot of blue penis in that movie.
This one's just usually white and whiter.
He goes down there and he gets into all sorts of trouble with drug dealers and whatnot.
Hijinks, you might
He gets
say.
into all sorts of various hijinks. The movie TM, and then T.J. Miller and Billy. T.J. Miller and Billy go down to find him, and Billy doesn't want to go because Billy has a meeting that is. It's half of the stakes of this movie. The stakes of this movie are that meeting and Nardo's marriage.
Yeah, it's the only time constraint in the movie.
It's the only time constraint in the movie, and the time constraint keeps getting pushed back because the timetable is unrealistic, and they needed the movie to keep going with stakes, so they kept pushing the stakes. Yeah, it's like these stakes keep coming up on us. We need to push them back further. Too much time has passed. Everyone's really reasonable. Just keep pushing that meeting. People love that. I mean, executives love that. When their meetings are pushed and they have to come back 3 hours later, and then it's 2 hours later, and then it's another 2 hours later.
Yeah.
People love doing that. It's okay. And then you even get a promotion after everything's said and done.
Spoilers.
Okay, so they end up, let's just, they get to the resort eventually separately. Nardo gets there in a truck with cocaine, and then he gets sent to prison, and then the fiance comes to save him after TJ and Billy call her because they don't have money to get him out of prison. And then they steal him, or they break him out of the prison and are subsequently attacked by the drug dealers that Nardo with earlier.
See hijinks.
See hijinks. And they escape, and everything turns out just fine.
You know
Every single thing.
Yeah.
For all of the characters except Jason Mantzoukas, who did not get a kidney, which we'll talk about probably.
I'm going to say you're really downselling. He stole a truck with cocaine.
He stole a truck that was the bed of which was packed to the brim with cocaine, and he bathed in and became
Cocaine man.
a little strung out the rest of the movie.
There was easily 30 bags of 50-pound cocaine.
30 bags of 50-pound cocaine.
30 50-pound bags of cocaine.
It's like paper. It's like, it's 50-pound cocaine.
No, like if you go and buy concrete,
Yeah.
It comes
I
like-
know.
We get it. We're making fun of you.
There are bags filled with a weight of cocaine. I understand.
but they're big.
Yes.
It's like a potato sack
It's
bag.
really, it's think drug dealing in Southern California, Southern California and Mexico and and Colombia and shit. And it's like, look, it's like, is that a sack of potatoes or a dead body? No, it's all cocaine.
Classic Pam.
He had nothing to do with this movie, but I'm pretty sure he ran that cartel.
No, that was way too serious a cartel.
So let's talk about the good things in this movie, because they are few and far between.
I didn't write anything down for this. I didn't prepare for this, David. We
We
usually
only have
prepare for
3
this, David.
bits.
Okay,
I know.
here's a single moment that made me go, because it had to do with Jason Mantzoukas. It was the very last part of the scenes he was part of. They're running from T.J. Miller and Billy. Was it Billy that we decided to call him?
Oh yeah, Billy.
T.J. Miller and Billy are running from Hugo, which is Jason Mantzoukas' character, and you think they get away from him. And then as they're getting to their car, you hear in the distance, "I am Hugo!" And then they turn around, and he has 2 crossbows with flaming arrows in them.
Well, they're bolts if it's in a crossbow.
Flaming bolts, whatever. And he was like, "Oh, who's that? Oh, that's the amazing Hugo. He's a magician and marksman expert." And then Hugo, he sticks one crossbow on top of the other and then pulls out another crossbow and sticks it on top of that and starts firing all 3 of them at the same time.
In much too rapid a succession for having to reload 3 crossbows.
Okay, but the part of that,
amazing.
The only part about that made me smile was when you thought they got away and you heard "I am Hugo" and it turned and you saw that scene of him just standing up there with those crossbows.
Shirtless.
It made me smile. I was like, oh, there's Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, the very definition of grasping at straws.
Yeah,
Like, I do not disagree with you, but it was a brief
There's so little.
moment.
Should we talk about, since it was generally positive, I think, the portion of the movie that Jason Mantzoukas was part of?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the part that he was directly part of was creepy.
Oh, yeah.
And
But it
creepy and off-putting
Yeah,
and almost scary.
But it wasn't boring,
No, that it was not.
and it landed doing what it was trying to do, I think.
Which
if they were
wasn't
trying to
being
be
funny.
Yeah, it wasn't trying to be funny. It was trying to be kind of creepy and messed up, but like a little bit funny, just a little bit though.
And Rosa Salazar plays a cocktail waitress that is only known as Pocahontas. And she was
Because
pretty,
everyone's casually racist in
yeah,
this movie.
this is a super racist. But she should have gotten a bigger part in this movie because she worked it. She acted.
Yeah.
She actually put her pants on and like went to
Well,
work.
well, I mean,
and
she
it-
put on
Her Pocahontas costume.
outfit.
But she went to work and she did it and she got it done.
And like there was, it seemed like the way the character was going, it was like, oh, she's gonna hang around for no good reason, you know?
Right.
Because that's the kind of movie this is, where they'll just like pick up a random f***ing person and be like, we're friends now, right?
And I wouldn't mind that.
You want to go on an adventure?
Wait. It seemed like that kind of movie where they do that, and they never do that.
They never
Which was
do.
infuriating.
They could have picked up her. They could have picked up Allison Brie. They could have picked up
one of the drug dealers.
one of the
maybe.
drug dealers. Yeah, they could have picked up a variety of people, and they picked up.
I feel like it would have been neat if Burke was hanging around him, just like,
Yeah.
you guys are all right, and then he's just like, you have this dangerous drug dealer with you for the rest of the movie.
Or like he knocked him out and he like tied him up and he
Which
just
is Burke is a drug dealer.
Right, he's just a big old-
He's a federale that's black and
He's
is
the-
clearly American.
he's the legitimate owner of all that cocaine. And
Yeah. Also, he's very adamant that he's Mexican,
yeah,
and he's not.
He's not.
yeah.
He's not, and it's not like the movie's trying to say that he's Mexican. He's trying to say he's Mexican.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
We were talking about the casino sequence.
Oh yes. But I was going to say about the Pocahontas character. There was. It seemed like they were going to take her with them, and then there was just this point at the end of the scene where they were like, we can't have her go with them, because then this movie would have character. Then they just have T.J. Miller.
It would literally have character, as in a single real character.
And they have T.J. Miller forget what her real name is, and she's like, f you, and punches him in the face, and then we move on without her.
It was more of a punch in the shoulder, and it was kind of weak compared to the punch that the groom's fiance like gave him in the beginning of the movie. Like
Sure.
that maybe broke a rib.
That's fair. So, Billy, T.J. Miller tells him to go over to the bar and talk to some random woman because he needs practice because his game.
Is weak.
Well, his game got off a few stops ago on the bus.
Right.
It's not around. It hasn't been around for a while.
And I would say that was like a legitimate, like, good friend thing to do. He's basically saying, look, you got 5 minutes. I'm going to wire this money to our friend in Mexico.
Like you do.
Why don't you take the 5 minutes to practice talking to other people and beautiful women? You're going to get rejected, but you're going to learn something. And I thought, just moment of clarity.
That's some good advice.
It was. Then it goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, because
Well, no, technically it was terribly right because
it goes. In fact, Billy called it. Or no,
No,
she did.
she called it.
She
She
did.
called it.
Okay, so
Kristen Ritter.
Ritter, Jessica Jones, for you people that watch Marvel Netflix shows. So Kristen Ritter jokes about stealing his kidneys and then drugs him, and with Jason Mantzoukas, the amazing Hugo, tries to steal his f***ing kidneys.
Yeah.
yeah. And at first, like he's tied up in the bed, and they're like both over him, like we're gonna steal your kidneys, and I didn't know during that scene if at some point they were gonna be like, haha, just f***ing with you.
That would have
Like
been better.
it was
Right?
It was on the cusp of that might happen, and it never did. It was just them being like, "We're gonna steal your f***ing kidneys. You're gonna see all your guts come out of your side, and then we're gonna leave, taking your kidneys, and you're gonna bleed out and die. You're gonna die here." And Jason Mantzoukas like puts this blindfold on, and he's like, My face is going to be the last face you see before you die. Puts the blindfold on, just laughs. I'm like, this is really, really, really f***ed up.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this movie, that it goes a lot of places that it thinks are funny, but are only funny in hindsight if you've been through a horrible situation. So it's just too real and not funny.
Imagine if you were a person who had your kidney stolen, because that does happen every once in a while, and you went to see this movie with your friends, and you're sitting in there, and then suddenly PTSD happens.
Or you're over it and you think it's funny, and all your friends are like, "What the man?
Yeah.
This almost happened to you.
No, it did happen. That's
This
the
happened
joke.
to you. That's f***ed up."
You're
He's
on
like,
dialysis right now.
Why don't you guys have telepathy?
What?
I don't even want to get into that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that was stupid. We don't have to. But plus side of that scene, Kristen Ritter was exclusively in her underwear.
Exclusively. Fancy underwear, too.
Might be an odd way to put that, but yeah, it's true.
Fancy underwear. I think that's called lingerie.
Fancy underwear.
Fancy.
Oh, you put on some fancy underwear today, haven't you?
Other things that were really good about this movie. Casting.
The casting was
like,
immaculate.
no one was poorly cast. It was just poorly directed and written.
If only they didn't go with the first draft script.
Right. This script was sort of like two friends got some beers after watching The Hangover and said, I'd like to make a show or a movie vaguely like
After
this.
they watched The Hangover 2 and we're like, we could do better.
We could do better than two, yeah.
You know what?
They didn't.
What's funny about that is the very first thing I have written in my notes, just before almost anything happens in the movie. It was while they were in the van and he was just like, I don't know if I should marry her. I wrote down, is this going to be The Hangover?
It felt like it.
Yeah. I was like, he's going to get lost and they're going to have to try to find him. And it happened.
It wasn't absurd enough, though. We'll look at it. We're sticking with good things.
It was a little too real. That's what we've been saying.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked, that I think we all liked, was when Nardo was in the very beginning, when he was trying to fix what T.J. Miller was doing to his wedding, where T.J. Miller was like telling him not to get married, and that he was just yesterday talking about how he didn't want to do this, and then when the fiance is trying to leave and she punches him and she says "F you,"
Yeah.
and the way she said it was another one of the things that was just way too real. It's like, oh man, she meant that.
Yeah.
Like that was real. That was, an unhappy person.
It hurt me a
Yeah,
little bit.
it kind of hurt. Like I was
because-
like,
Dave, that's
How
it's
dare
part
you?
of your life. How could it not hurt you?
yeah, that was bringing up your PTSD.
Welcome to Left at the Altar cast.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez, man.
The on-altar call.
Oh, you know what? I guess I can't be part of the podcast. I'd just be a casual observer. Another thing that I like, some of the things in this movie, the jokes that landed in this movie were not the jokes that were written down. The jokes that landed in this movie was the that was obviously improvised. And it wasn't enough. And it was like, they just sort of landed because everything around them wasn't funny, so you weren't prepared to laugh in any real way. But there was the thing where T.J. Miller started smoking weed in Billy's office. And he was like, put it in one of your 9 pockets you have in those shorts. And it was like, oh, they didn't write that joke, but that was funny. Ha ha ha. And it landed.
See, us white men love our cargo shorts.
You know what?
I don't own any shorts, Dave.
More pockets, the better.
Okay, to be fair, I own 3 pairs of cargo shorts.
I own no cargo shorts.
You put one of those puppies on, you will feel like you are now more deeply in touch with your heritage.
I feel like
heritage?
You got to go
Yeah.
hiking and you got to store things.
Yeah,
Like nuts and dirt.
yeah.
Another thing I liked from the beginning of the movie that it might have been a scripted line. It was probably a scripted line, but I feel like it was actually kind of funny when
How dare you?
there were a lot of misunderstandings written into this movie, or people would say things. It was mostly Billy saying things where he would come off as being a pedophile or something like that,
Or a rapist.
but he always just he says that makes him sound weird. But there's this part in the beginning of the movie where when T.J. Miller is trying to break up the wedding, where he comes in and people think, oh, you're trying to break it up because you're in love with Tracy, who I just remembered the name of, the fiance. And he's like, no, I'm not in love with her. I'm in love with him. And everyone's like, wait, he's gay?
Well, quite a few people were like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Oh,
And
yeah,
he
that
was
makes
like,
sense.
"No."
No, he's totally. And he said the thing that I like that he said is like, no, we're more than gay. We're best friends. And I think that's a relatively apt description of what best friends should be.
More than gay.
More than gay.
Or I think beyond gay.
Hyper gay, if you will. No, that's bad.
Is it?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Bad might be the wrong word, but that's
Yes, it is.
hyper gay. I mean, that's a bad phrase, is what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no way you come out of the phrase hyper gay not being insensitive to somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've gone head into that phrase like 3 times now.
Yeah, and you keep bouncing off that wall, man. It's not giving an inch.
Whap! Hyper gay! Whap! Hyper gay! Whap! Hyper gay!
Okay, I'll admit that joke didn't land, much like all of this movie. But you know what, Dave?
What?
You're laughing right now.
Yeah, he's laughing about what I was just doing.
Unlike this movie,
Yes.
because it's in real life, if someone tells a bad joke, you can play off that, and then that can be funny. But in a movie, if someone tells a bad joke, you don't know until you're like it's all edited together, and you're like, oh shit, that wasn't good.
Unless it was written as a bad joke and they wrote in the playoff.
So, is there anything else in this movie that was good?
Yes. Visually, it wasn't appalling.
Okay, that's not the best way to start off.
It had good cinematography.
It did have good cinematography, and that could kill a movie.
Oh my god, that one time when they were walking through that field after the car blew up, that was really nice
It
looking.
was so picturesque. I don't know where between LA and Mexico a nice farmhouse and a lush green field resides.
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, maybe, probably, never. I don't know.
And a beautiful old fence.
Yeah,
That's it's a fence that you'd want to take your wedding
It
pictures
was a
there.
little
I don't
house on
know.
the prairie.
There are
type.
plenty of Hallmark cards that were taken in that exact locale.
A lot
Yeah.
of lawsuits about that.
So it was just visually it worked.
Oh my god, I thought of one thing. When they were talking about with those 2 cops, when they were trying to get what's his face out of jail?
TJ
Nardo?
Jakes, Nardo.
Nardo, trying to get Nardo out of Mexican jail. They were talking to one of the cops. Well, they somehow ended up on Babe Pig in the City.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the huskier cop was like, "Oh man, I saw that movie on Christmas when I was young, and it made my heart weep, and I was so happy. I was filled with joy or whatever." And everyone's looking at him like, "That's weird." And then I think it was
Nardo.
no, it wasn't Nardo.
It's TJ Miller.
It was TJ Miller. Have you seen the first one? And he just said, "Babe Pig in the City, there's a first one. My life is a lies."
Plural, alive.
And then he starts crying.
Yeah, he
that
just
was a pretty
legit
good-
starts crying. Well, also, he's somewhat a little on cocaine right now because he was licking Nardo earlier.
Yeah, Nardo spends 2/3 of the movie covered in cocaine, naked, butt naked. Like we see his penis often, but covered
Yeah.
in
I don't know
from
if
head to
you've-
toe in
if-
white. So I have a question for y'all. Which one of the cop duos did you like more? Dirty Grandpa cops, Search Party cops?
I'm going to say I actually hated the Dirty Grandpa cops because they were 100% not good at their job.
Yeah. I would say at least the other cops were relatively competent. Like
They called the drug dealer.
Well, yeah, but they were on the take.
They were on the take.
they were on the take.
I
but
mean,
they
at least they were doing.
they weren't just the other cops didn't even get anything out of it. They were just letting a drug dealer free because it was classic Pam.
Classic Pam.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
I'm not saying I forgive them for being on the take, but at least they had a reason.
I mean, hey, they were just doing their job. It wasn't their cop job. It was their other job.
I thought we'd be able to have a deeper conversation about this, but you're all just stone cold right. Like,
Suck it.
I think you got straight to the essence of that one.
Yeah, and there was this, I did kind of like the, they mentioned this thing where they're trying to get Nardo out of prison there, and TJ Miller's like, we should do a We Got Beef. We should do a We Got Beef, and Billy's like, no, we shouldn't. That never works. That has never worked. And then it was like, well, it worked at Arizona State. Well, if everything works at Arizona State, oh, well, that's true. Which is
burn Arizona State.
I've heard of like pretty recently. I've heard a lot of burns on Arizona State.
It's because they're well known for their party scene. I mean,
What I was saying, but about that, with the whole We Got Beef thing.
the We Got Beef.
TJ Miller just starts getting. They realize they're not going to be able to get him out of prison by like talking to the cops. So TJ Miller starts.
Why wouldn't that work? Please let him out.
Well, because it's not Dirty Grandpa, and they. So TJ Miller's like. Just starts fake arguing with Billy, like, no, I'm so angry at you, motherfucker. Like, just bad acting, angry at him. Like, that's the point. He, like, fake punches him, kind of. And then, while that's happening, TJ Miller is fake fighting him, but a few seconds into that exchange, Billy starts really fighting TJ Miller because he is actually very angry at that character for just being a complete shithead and
Legitimate reason.
causing all of this, and he starts actually beating the shit out of TJ
and
Miller.
also just saying like, you're a loser, you're a bad friend, I hate you, I never want to see you again.
Yeah, and
He's like,
TJ Miller's like, yeah, just like that. Keep going. But and then the cops in the background are just like watching and filming it, which still makes them better cops than the other cops because at least they're recording evidence.
It's true.
You know what? I find it very sad that, and actually, this could have been an after credits scene for all we know. It was never brought up that went like viral on YouTube or anything.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, come on. It showed something being filmed. Show it going viral.
We here at the Darkest Timeline do not wait for after credit scenes.
Extra credit scenes.
Yeah.
We have like twice.
Is that the good stuff?
Yeah, let's roll our sleeves up and get to it.
Oh.
Ooh, I don't think,
Stick our hand in that hog.
yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Let's get in there and rip that kidney out.
So let's start with the time constraints.
Yeah.
Or let's just overall structure of this.
This movie has no. The movie wanted to have structure.
It doesn't have acts.
It doesn't have actual acts. It has various hijinks during a road trip.
Yeah.
Okay, but the time what'd you call it?
Okay, so when Billy leaves his office,
The structure?
No. The
time constraints.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
time
time
constraints. Throughout the movie, it's like, we have until this time to do it. Okay, we've changed the time. They've moved it 3 hours. We have until this time.
I remember the times.
Go for it.
Okay, so when Billy leaves his job the previous night, he gets a meeting with his boss the next day at 8 a.m. to go to the sauna. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to steam with the boss? You're going to get a promotion. Everyone who steams with the boss gets a promotion.
And then gets to live with us and we get to have Taco Tuesdays.
No, that's not a thing.
Spaghetti Tuesdays.
Whatever.
It gets pushed back to 2 p.m. Well, it doesn't get... He misses that meeting, but he has to... So the stakes are gone. There's no more stakes for 6 hours. He missed that. Whatever. They're like, but you have to be back by 2 o'clock to make this meeting with this. He's like he's in advertising, right?
I have no idea.
No idea. It's very, very unclear.
I got the feeling that he was in advertising.
Maybe if I rewatched it and like looked at every little thing in that office.
That's what
maybe if I could see the script.
That's what I got out of it. That
I
he was
was
in advertising.
listening for it. I was listening to figure out. At no point does it ever say.
So it gets pushed to 2 o'clock, and just no more stakes for a while, so they can just do more hijinks. And then he's going to miss that meeting.
Misses that meeting.
He does miss that meeting. And they're like, well, you have to be back by 5.
Yeah.
You have to be back by 5 to be able to make this meeting. or else everything's for you, man.
Or else you're gonna have to be back by 8.
Yeah. When they do get back, he gets there at 5:12, and Alison Brie's like coming down the stairway as he's getting there because that's how movies work, and she's like, "You're so late. We have to get to the meeting right now." And he's like, "I'm already gonna get fired. Whatever. I want to go on a date with you." And she's like, "F off. Let's go to the meeting." And then he gets a promotion.
And I think he's going out with her after that.
Yeah.
It's implied.
Yeah.
They underutilized Alison Brie.
They
Right?
underutilized f***ing everybody in this movie.
True.
It's really weird, even the main characters.
Right.
No one really. I guess the only person to have an actual arc in this movie was T.J. Miller because he was like,
Tracy too.
That's true.
She goes from hating her.
she goes from loving him to hating him because of his friends, and then being okay with them again because she seemed okay with them in the beginning of the movie.
She seems like a rather pleasant person.
She was aware that they did not like her. And I guess she didn't change, but their opinion of her changed, so she was more okay with them.
Yeah, but T.J. Miller's the only person that like actually changed as a person in this movie, I think.
Considering all of the action was hanging on his decisions.
Kinda,
If he
yeah.
was dead, there'd be no movie. It would just been
Well, and we would have been better for it.
right. It would have been a 3-minute movie about two people have a little bit of doubt going into a wedding, and then they get married.
Yeah.
And if he would have died after he went into the thing and broke up the wedding,
Nardo might have been killed in Mexico if that happened. Because he still would have gone to Mexico after the failed wedding.
and Billy still wouldn't have got that call.
no, Billy would be fine. Billy would just have gone to the 8 a.m. steam. He would have been great.
Yeah.
And Tracy, his fiancée, would have bailed him out of would have rescued him from the thingy.
Yeah. Or
From the
movie would have started at a later time, or like they would have started trying to get him at a later time. They would have just started trying to get him after he called them from prison
Yeah.
instead of at the beginning, because he would have never gotten the first call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also how shitty they treated Alison Brie. They stole her car and then set it on fire.
Well, that was an accident. They blew it up. They didn't set it on fire.
And that was after she bailed them out of prison, the American prison,
The American prison.
which they were also in during one of the midpoint hijinks.
She does just keep popping up, though.
Yeah.
Like, they have her pop up a lot in the movie. So you see a fair amount of Alison Brie. They just do not use her.
What kills me about this movie is I can see a better movie in it. With the same actors and even the same characters, better writer, and just a few extra tweaks. And I think this movie could actually have been pretty good. Like an actual cult classic.
Instead of just a shitty movie.
Yeah. So,
What else is bad?
The music, technically. I mean, it was exciting music, but it was music that was there to tell you that moments were supposed to be exciting. It was like, this is crazy now. This is going down. And you're like, I am bored.
yeah.
None of this is funny or exciting. Like when the first car exploded, there was like crazy music going on. And it was just like, the scene isn't tense. Everyone's coming out of this fine.
Yeah. This isn't the
I'm
kind
not
of,
even sure if the car is going to explode.
I mean-
it did.
I mean, Billy gets shot in the back with a bolt from a crossbow, and that never gets brought up again.
Totally.
It gets brought up once when they're in prison, and he's like, am I bleeding from my ass? And TJ Mills just like, oh, yeah, a lot of stuff happened last night. And that is all that's said about it.
It's a great callback. Great callback, guys. You really brought home that thing with the crossbow.
Yeah,
that piercing his spine.
Yeah, and all that and all those pantsuit jokes they used, they were great.
Yeah. They set up a series of an hour and a half of pantsuit jokes where Billy had to put on a woman's pantsuit and like a really ugly turquoise pantsuit, and there's like one pantsuit joke that's barely a pantsuit joke.
It's like, hey, nice pantsuit.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, yeah, I guess on
zinged him.
yeah, on someone it might actually look good, but not you. Ha ha.
It could have been so much. There were Hillary Clinton jokes in there for sure. There were just turquoise jokes to galore. There were like,
Hey, my mom likes turquoise.
Well,
That could have been one.
I think I think it was probably in the contract when they got the suit from Hillary Clinton that they couldn't make any Hillary jokes.
Like one thing you said during this movie is that this is clearly the movie that all of these like relatively known actors had to do because of a contract.
Right. All these contractual obligations.
And they were like, okay, well, we just need to shove all these people into one movie and get these contracts out the door.
So true.
And they did it.
Oh,
Give them props for
so
getting all
rough.
those people in one movie.
Congratulations.
This movie made $3,000.
Yeah. How? I mean, I guess I can't imagine a trailer for this looking exciting.
I can't. You can slap this
Do you
thing
mean
together.
like the U.S. box office was like
total box office?
No, the total box office was more. They didn't add it up right in the box office.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was it?
It's more like it's not much. It's really not much more than that. Well, that's good. Just
like,
give it a second.
I'm pretty sure they couldn't pay for the union work, like just the lighting, with what they made.
Yeah. The gross was in around, and it's just like for the foreign box offices that they showed, like I had to add up stuff myself.
Okay.
So it's somewhere around $117,000
Worldwide.
Yeah, that was a flop.
Didn't pay for that movie.
Did not.
20 million budget.
Oh.
Yep. For your information, people, on the website now we actually have the budget and gross of the movies that we do and the rating, in case you want to know.
But yeah, are we done? Because
No.
this movie sucked. Is there more specific things that were bad about this movie?
Oh yeah, sure.
See, when things go bad, the problem is that they're just not noteworthy.
Right.
They're just bad.
Oh my God, the pool was moving.
The pool moving. Continue.
Okay, so oh God, how do I even explain this? Between when
Okay, well, you don't have to give any context, really.
No.
Okay,
Billy
so-
was hanging
okay.
off of a balcony, and he was paralyzed.
Billy was hanging off a balcony, flanked by T.J. Miller and Pocahontas,
And he was paralyzed.
and he was paralyzed. And they were holding on to him, or T.J. Miller was holding on to him, and he was slipping. And there kept being this camera angle down where there was this pool below him. And in the first shot, it's like, yeah, you're gonna land on concrete, dude. You're dead.
Yeah,
And then
at
in the
least
next
15 feet.
Yeah. And the next shot, the pool was closer. And then the shot after that, he was over the pool. And then he was dropped and landed in the pool.
No, the last shot, he was still not underneath the pool, but then they kind of bent his fall, so he kind of floated or curved into
When
the
he
pool.
was falling, it looked like he was going to hit the side of the pool.
I was ready to actually laugh at that happening.
That would have been pretty good.
Like if he broke his leg,
Yeah.
I would have actually been happy.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. That's how bad this movie was. I was hoping for people to actually get injured. Barfing Burrow. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, there was a burrow, and it threw up because of tear gas.
Yeah.
I like that. That was funny.
I guess
I,
that was
I don't
funny.
even know where I'm at with that. I was like, ew. That's kind of disgusting.
Well, hey, that just happened.
Yeah, it was wholly and completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like it really didn't need. It was the burrow was there because T.J. Miller. Like when they got out of the car at the police station, T.J. Miller walked over to the burrow. He's like, "Hey, can we save the burrow too?" And then he kind of like rubbed its head. And he was like, "I like you." And then he left. And then it threw up later. I'm like, "What?"
Also, they show up to this police. This station's in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
It's just a brick building in the middle of the desert. And the two of them show up in a smart car. Even if they're able...
A lime green smart
a lime
car.
green smart car.
Allison Bree's lime green smart car.
Are able to get him out of prison. Where are they going to put him in the smart car? They need that burro to ride his ass back to the United States.
Well, I mean, they could tie him to the roof. Well, I mean, he couldn't get over
Even
the border.
then, it's a smart car.
He
though.
couldn't get over the border anyway. They would have had to actually do an illegal border crossing,
Right.
which would have also been better.
They technically did because they put him in the trunk of another car to get him across the border, and somehow they weren't caught at the border.
Also, somehow, T.J. Miller's fake ID that he had an 11-year-old make scanned through at the border. They showed them like swipe his ID, and it was like, green, you're good to go. I'm like, 11-year-old? Really?
Hey, he did his job, man. He did good work. How do you think he got work?
So, how are we gonna fix this movie? No, how? There's a sequel. No, we're just
No.
making it entirely another movie.
Yeah,
Basically, someone starts it and then it goes from there, and we can't even. It's not barely connected to this movie. I mean, look what happened last week. Come on.
well, they're technically connected.
I mean, there was a character in
There was
them.
a character from the movie.
I mean,
in there.
technically, that was more of a spin-off movie. I think
Yeah.
maybe.
Which is fair. That's fair game. As long as you can vaguely connect it to the movie we just watched, I think it's fair game.
Okay, so I'll start our cluster, our new movie.
Go ahead, man. You got this.
I think I do. Nardo is we flipped the characters so that Tracy.
Is a guy.
No. Well, Nardo is actually the one that runs off to Mexico, and Tracy is the one that's trying to find him.
Ah.
And she has to use his friends because they know him well. So there's some conflict there. And you keep picking up those interesting characters.
So when they actually arrive and to where they are, they have like 10 people.
I think that'll be up to you later.
But I'm talking about Jason Mantzoukas, Pocahontas.
Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, wouldn't it be? I think it would be really funny if Kristen
Burke.
Ritter kept trying to steal his kidney.
Sorry, it's not my fault. It's my job.
Right. So I would say it is now Tracy going to find Nardo.
And everybody's coming too.
Yeah, and she keeps recruiting him.
All right.
Go.
Well, there needs to be a relatively valid reason for each person to come along on this adventure. I mean, if it's going to be a super good movie, you gotta have a reason.
I guess to be fair, we are changing the genre of the movie to adventure.
It's an adventure film.
I'm so ready for this because I think I know where this is going.
Do you?
Maybe.
I mean,
does
I've
one
only-
of them need courage and another need a heart and another need a brain?
No,
Okay.
but I like where your head's at.
It's not where his head's
It's not where my head's
Okay,
at.
continue.
I only have one of these actually in my head right now, but don't worry, the rest will come soon, or they better. So, Jason Mantzoukas' character, the amazing Hugo, the reason he's coming on this adventure that he does try to steal Billy's kidneys, but it turns out that Nardo is actually a huge fan of Jason.
I like it.
Oh, wait, of the amazing Hugo.
Hugo.
And so Tracy convinces him that okay, you can have Billy's kidney after we get Nardo back. If you come with me to convince my fiance that he should get back together with me because he'll listen to you. And Kristen Ritter comes along too because that's a package deal.
Right.
That just makes sense. And then Billy's hitting on Kristen Ritter the entire time, and Kristen Ritter is trying to steal his kidney.
Yeah.
So it's a good back and forth there between those two characters. And Jason Mantzoukas is just being Jason Mantzoukas, making weird observations and being in this movie crazy morbid about shit.
Is he using that crossbow a lot?
Oh, he's using that crossbow. How do you think they escaped the drug dealers? Well, one of the drug dealer that couldn't speak English. He ends up coming with them because he misunderstands something that his friend drug dealer that was speaking English was telling him about how he thinks that guy told him that they were from another cartel that was going to pay him more money, but it was actually they were trying to escape from his cartel. And send their friend and send some other people money to get them so they can actually get a guy out of prison, and so he ends up coming along because he thinks there's going to be money in it for him, and so he helps out. Okay, and Allison Brie comes along because she actually has a thing for Billy, and Billy's really he's trying, but and she's being hard to get, but also wants him to be a better person, so she tries to come along to get him.
I guess she's butting heads with Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, she's butting heads with Kristen Ritter because Kristen Ritter is trying to steal his kidneys, and he doesn't know which one of them he wants more, the one that wants to kill him by stealing his organs, or the one
the one that wants his heart or the one that wants his kidneys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants Kristen Ritter.
Yeah.
But he knows he shouldn't.
He knows he shouldn't, and Allison Brie's clearly the better choice in this scenario. And and Pocahontas comes along because T.J. Miller does remember her name.
Which is
I don't know, Marcy.
Sacagawea.
and he does remember her name. Like, it takes him a moment, but he thinks about it and he says it, and she's like, "I love you," and then and they go off together. So like everyone has a love interest in this movie now, and they have to get a maybe they keep the smart car. I just don't know how they could pull it off.
Well, they could all be they could all be dragging it with ropes.
They'll just they steal Marty's van.
Yes!
Marty is the drug dealer from the opening of the movie. Drug dealer. Well, he's the guy that has drugs from the opening of the movie. That they're
The
all
only guy that doesn't come with them on this adventure.
Yeah. He shows up near the beginning, and they take his van because they need a car. They don't take Allison Bree's smart car. Instead, they take Marty's van.
Better choice.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
everybody's coming along. When they actually reach the place where Nardo is spending the honeymoon, whatever resort that is, there's like 7 people there.
I think more like 9.
Whatever, go. Somehow the fat cop that hadn't seen the first Babe movie is also there, even though that's not.
Well,
yet
I guess
in the
they
movie.
ran into him because they were really suspicious. Like, that's a really, really, really suspicious group of people driving around in a van that's hauling a smart car.
He's towing the smart car.
Oh, because
Yeah.
Allison Brie doesn't want to leave her car behind.
Hell no.
Because it's only that's stolen.
It's expensive, and well, it's not really that expensive. It's a smart car.
In LA though, that gets stolen.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, she had to drive it out to Mexico to meet up with them. So she doesn't want to leave it just in a parking lot in Mexico. Like, no offense, Mexico.
Well, they weren't in
but-
Mexico yet when they met up. with
Okay,
her.
so what's going on?
Okay,
They're
fine.
all at the hotel. I love this. This is my favorite movie we've done so far.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, so all those people are there. And Tracy's like, okay, now, Hugo, you come with me. If they need Billy and TJ Miller, then they'll be right there, like to jump in and be like, but Nardo, or whatever.
Oh, classic line. But Nardo.
Yeah, that's what you'd expect from this movie. Just classic lines. So she has Hugo go in and find Nardo first. So he's just up at Nardo, just like, oh, hey, do you mind if I sit here? Just like at a bar. And so he's talking to Nardo like, hey, you know what's weird about love? And Nardo's just like, yeah, whatever. He's just drinking. Like, he doesn't even look over to see who's talking to him. And that kind of, Hugo just can't hold it together. He's just like, this kind of pisses me off. The dude, he's supposed to be a big fan of mine. He's not even looking at me. He just kind of punches him. And Nardo just looks over and I was like, oh my God, you're Hugo. But in real life, you're a and just punches him in the mouth.
Oh. He's destroyed his idol.
Yeah, he's in a bad place, man. He's in a bad place. It probably wasn't the best thing to get a stranger to talk to him. Like, really? Not a good plan. So then Tracy comes in and she's like, no, Nardo, please, we can work this out. And he's like, did you bring him here? And then TJ Miller and
Billy.
I keep forgetting his name. Billy coming in, they were like, Nardo, wait, we can work this out. Like, Tracy already tried that line.
Is this turning into a murder-suicide situation?
Whoa, hey now, you have extremely...
Do you mean the movie or the podcast?
I'll take both answers, and I'll accept my answers.
Double down. What about everyone else, Ian? What do they do?
Well, they're just getting antsy outside. Kristen Ritter's just starts drawing lines on people with a marker to, cut out their kidneys. But they're a very, very, very strange-looking group of people. And so security calls the police, only they're like, security saw this wanted poster in their office of Burke. And so they call, like, what's higher than the police in...
The federales? Or no,
okay.
that's what they were. I don't think there's anything higher than
Okay, the federale. Fine, they call them.
El Presidente.
Yeah, they're not going to call the president.
The super police?
Super police. They call it the Mexican super police.
The ultra police?
Don't you mean...
Hyper police?
There you
The
go.
hyper police. They call it the Mexican hyper police. Which get
Haha, now it's not offensive.
which get there hyper fast, as per their namesake. And a very large gunfight ensues because Burke don't go nowhere with no machine guns.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Do you hear that?
What?
Yeah, that's the cards getting ready, Dave.
Yeah, I know. You're
not-
waiting for me. I'm sorry. I just really had nothing for this, so I'm just crawling my way through until I
Yeah.
figure out an ending.
Ooh, everyone dies in the gun battle.
Everyone dies in the gun battle.
All right, so we are going
No,
to...
whoa, hey, I'm not done.
You said you just confessed you have nothing for it.
And while David was right, Ian was only half done. Seriously, only half. We could let you listen to the rest of it, but we won't. So as a consolation prize, here's the merciful end.
Wrap this up, man.
Okay, TJ Miller kicks his ass out the back of the van, and it flies through the smart car and knocks out Hugo, and they get away, and everyone's happy, and the two get married, and the other two f*** off. I don't know.
Amen. All right.
What's the movie called?
The movie is called
Search Party.
The movie is called Search Party. Only it's an actual f***ing search party this time. Instead of just two guys. That's not a search party. It's just two guys.
So, we're going to the cards.
That was ass. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it just kept going.
I know. I could figure out no way to properly end it. People died. I couldn't even figure out a good way to proproperly continue it.
Dave gave you an out. Everybody dies in a gunfight.
I know. And then I said, yeah, but.
If I get the highest car, we're watching 2012's Vamps.
What?
It is Kristen Ritter and Alicia Silverstone.
What? Oh, yeah. You said it was an actor that you thought was dead.
Yup.
You thought she was dead?
Good old Alicia Silverstone.
You know, when actors stop acting, it doesn't mean they die.
That's just lies. You can't get it out of it. An actor's going to act. Dylan, what are you going to get?
If I succeed with my card draw, I didn't. If I succeed with my card draw, we're going to be following J.B. Smoove, who played Burke, the drug dealing black federale in this movie, to 2001's Pootie Tang.
Oh.
About
sounds awful.
A crime fighting music producer.
I've seen Pootie Tang.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I hadn't even heard of that movie.
Yeah.
It has like a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
I watched Pootie Tang. Yeah. Pootie.
Stop saying it.
Okay, if I win,
I'm just sad I didn't win.
if I, you don't know, dude. Last week was rough too.
Yeah.
You would both have to have the worst card for me to win.
Okay, if I win, we will be following TJ Miller to 2010's Jack Black starring Gulliver's Travels.
Oh.
Oh. Wasn't that made for TV?
No, that was a theater thing.
Yeah,
I did not see that on
I had
purpose.
forgotten about that movie because I wanted to forget about that movie.
We didn't even see it. We wanted to forget about it.
All right. So who has the lowest? Do you think
I
you
have a
the,
3.
You have a 3.
We're not watching
You think you
Pootie
got the
Tang.
highest?
Okay, I got a 7. You got a freaking ace?
I got an ace.
What was your movie?
2012's Kristen Ritter Vamps.
Vamps. What is it? I'm assuming it's about vampires.
Yes, Kristen Ritter plays the main character Stacy, but apparently, I guess Van Helsing's in it as well.
Well, it's a vampire movie. There's always a Van Helsing.
Yeah, I almost followed Lance Reddick to the 1998 Godzilla movie. Oh. Yeah, he was an uncredited person or military guy on the bridge. Good for you, Lance.
All right, let's go home.
Okay. Remember,
No,
visit
stop it.
us on...
Oh, just let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Just no. Quiet. Yes. Sweet silence. Well, Brynloft here, God of the podcast, and thank you for listening to The Darkest Timeline. Remember to like and subscribe on whatever platform you may be listening on. YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, our own website, DTLPodcast.com, or whatever other fine websites grab our feed without our say-so. Just search DTL Podcast or The Darkest Timeline Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at DTL Podcast. And like we've been saying for a few weeks now, the boys have put up a page on Patreon, the recurring funding website that strives to feed the starving artist community. So if you like what you're hearing and can easily say goodbye to at least $1 a week of your hard-earned cash, consider giving it to our boys at The Darkest Timeline. For that first $1 per podcast, you can hear the podcast a whole day early and spoil it for your friends. Or for $3 per podcast, you can see new website art and potential t-shirt art and other things, and judge it harshly. And for $5 per podcast, you get to vote on a monthly Patreon exclusive podcast that we'll start doing as soon as somebody actually gives us $5 per podcast. So that means that if you're the first one, you get to make a unilateral decision on what movie they watch. Like Supergirl, for instance. Ben.